Our correspondent Sadia Chowdhury reports now on what happens to a body during a hunger strike, which some may find distressing.
Hiba Muraisi is waiting to stand trial, hoping to prove her innocence. She's been held in prison on remand for over a year, accused of offences related to Palestine Action's activities. Sky News is getting updates from Palestine Action and Hiba's friends. One of them spoke to us just after visiting her as she approaches 70 days on hunger strike.
She looks very different to photographs that you'll see of her. Her face is very gaunt, cheekbones are very prominent, she's physically exhausted. She's aware that she's, deteriorating and, physically dying, basically, that her body could fail her any moment.
Hiba is one of 3 prisoners on hunger strike. They've all been held on remand well over the 6-month custody time limit set out in UK law. Their supporters say the 3 will starve themselves until they get bail. Among their other demands is that the UK ends support for companies that supply weapons to Israel and for Palestine Action to be deprescribed.
When someone has been refusing food for 60 plus days, they are a really very serious risk of death and indeed permanent harm, basically. The biggest risk immediately is what's called refeeding syndrome. So if you can just picture yourself having not eaten for a number of days, you need to actually very gradually increase your calorie intake. And there's a risk, because your body's not used to suddenly eating, of getting very sick. And actually people have died having stopped the hunger strike, developing a refeeding syndrome.
Hunger strikes affect people differently depending on how well nourished they are to begin with. Typically, the body first relies on energy from stored glucose. After about 3 days, it starts breaking down fat. This causes weight loss. Over the next week or so, it begins to consume its own muscle and organs. Around day 30, there can be nerve damage, vertigo, sight loss and confusion. Some experience loss of bone marrow and bleeding. And there's extreme weakness. When 40 to 50% of body weight is lost, vital organs can fail. This usually happens around days 60 to 70. And that's when death is likely. In 1981, IRA prisoner Bobby Sands died on day 66 of a hunger strike. It was thought to have been a turning point in the conflict in Northern Ireland. 10 Republican parliamentary prisoners starved to death, while Margaret Thatcher's government refused to negotiate. Pat Sheehan was on day 55 when the strikes ended.
At that stage, I weighed about between 7 and 7.5 stones. I was completely yellow with jaundice. My eyesight had nearly gone. And I have always said that as I became weaker physically, there is absolutely no doubt that I became stronger psychologically. There was never a doubt in my mind that I was going to give up the hunger strike unless either I was ordered to or we achieved all our demands.
The government says the Palestine Action prisoners are charged with serious offences. Ministers have refused to meet them, saying, "We have a justice system that is based on the separation of powers, and the independent judiciary is the cornerstone of our system. It would be entirely unconstitutional and inappropriate for ministers to intervene in ongoing legal cases." In the meantime, Hiba's friends say she's determined to go right to the end. Sadia Chowdhury, Sky News.